Okay, let us have a look at the question from SPM 2017. The variable x and y are related by the non-linear equation y equals to x plus r over x squared. And the diagram gives you the straight line of the linear form where the big Y is y minus x and the big X is 1 over x squared. The question doesn't give you the complete graph. The straight line is just halfway. And the coordinate is h over 2 and 5p. No other coordinate given, and you do not know the y-intercept also. Express h in terms of p and r. Okay, firstly, we need to know what is the big Y and what is the big X given in the question, right? Which is y minus x and 1 over x squared. We know that we cannot get the linear form from the graph, but we can get the linear form from the non-linear equations. Since the big Y we need is y minus x, we can just move the x to the other side. So we can get y minus x equals to r over x squared. And we know that r over x squared, we can break it becomes r bracket 1 over x squared. And we still have a number at the back, which is plus 0. Our big Y is y minus x, our big X is 1 over x squared, and our gradient is r, our y-intercept is 0. If you extend your straight line, it will pass through the origin of the graph, where the y-intercept is at 0. That will be our linear form. After that, we can compare the gradient already, because from here we can see the gradient is r. From the graph, we can get the gradient because we know the coordinate of the origin is 0, 0. So the gradient is equals to 5p minus 0 over h over 2 minus 0. If you simplify it, we multiply 2 and multiply 2 here, which gives us 10p over h. Okay, now we compare, we get 10p over h is equals to r. The question wants the h as the subject, right? We move the h to the other side and then we move the r go down using the cross multiply. You will get the answer. H is equals to 10p over r. 1 mark is given once you get your linear form. Alright, 1 mark is given when you compare the gradient. 1 more mark when you make the h as the subject. Now, let me show you the second method, substitution method. The first thing we need is the linear form. Y minus x is equal to r bracket 1 over x squared. We better replace the y minus x and 1 over x squared becomes big Y and big X. So we write it as y equals to rx. We can substitute the coordinate inside the linear form already. And we know that h over 2 is our big X, 5p is our big Y. Substitute inside. We get 5p equals to r bracket h over 2. Move the 2 to the other side, multiply with 5p, and move the r to the other side becomes divided by r. We get the answer. H is equal to 10p over r. For those who use this method, 1 mark given to the linear form, 1 mark given when you substitute the coordinate in the linear form, 1 mark is the final answer. Okay, now let us look at the second question I want to show you today. SPM 2012. Non-linear equation is given. P over y is equals to 1 minus q over x squared. And the question gives you the straight line of the linear form, where the big Y is 1 over y, the big X is 1 over x squared. And the graph passed through the point 5, 6 and having the y-intercept of 2. Now, the question asks for the value of P and the value of Q. So as usual, the first thing we need to know is the big Y, the big X, the y-intercept, and of course, the gradient. So we go to find the gradient first. M equals to 6 minus 2 over 5 minus 0. Which gives you 4 over 5. That is our gradient. The linear form from our graph y equals to mx plus c, we substitute inside. Big Y is 1 over y, gradient is 4 over 5, big X is 1 over x squared. Okay, I put a bracket to differentiate the gradient and the big X. And lastly is the y-intercept plus 2. Okay, from the non-linear equation, p over y equals to 1 minus q over x squared. If you don't want the p, both sides multiply with 1 over p. Same thing also here, I bracket and multiply with 1 over p. With this, the p and p cancel off already. Here, I will get 1 over y. Now, 1 over p multiplied with 1, I get 1 over p. 1 over p multiplied with q over x squared, I get q over px squared. 1 over y equals to negative q over p bracket 1 over x squared plus 1 over p. So with this, we get our linear form. Now, the gradient is 4 over 5, which is the same as negative q over p. And our y-intercept is 2, which is the same as 1 over p. So we compare the y-intercept first. 1 over p, we compare with 2. So with that, we will get the answer p equals to 1 over 2. First answer. Secondly, we compare the gradient. So negative q over p compare with 4 over 5. We move the p to the other side first. So q equals to negative 4 over 5p. We replace the value with 1 over 2. With that, we get the answer negative 2 over 5, which gives us our q. 1 mark is given once we manage to get our linear form from the nonlinear equation. Second mark is given either you compare the y-intercept or the gradient. Third mark is given for p. Fourth mark is given for q. Okay, now let me show you the substitution method. We need the linear form. 1 over y equals to 1 over p minus q over p bracket 1 over x squared. The 1 over y and the 1 over x squared we change to big Y and big X like this. We mainly focus on the big Y and big X, 5 and 6. So another coordinate we can refer here is 0 and 2. Okay, maybe we can substitute the 0 and 2 inside first. We put in. So 2 you put inside the y, 0 you put inside the x. You can see the q over p will be gone. That will give us p is equal to 1 over 2 as our first answer. Okay, after that, we can substitute the 5 and 6 into the linear form again. So we get 6 is equal to 1 over p, which is 1 over 2, minus q over p, which is 1 over 2 also. Then you put in the 5. 1 over 2, it actually gives you 2. Q over 1 over 2, it gives you 2q times 5. So we move the 2 to the other side, your minus becomes 4. And here we still have negative 10q. So with that, to get our final answer, we just have to move the negative 10 to the other side. Then you will get your answer, negative 2 over 5. 1 mark given to the linear form. 1 mark given either you substitute the point 0, 2 or 5, 6 inside. 1 mark for P, 1 mark for Q. Let me show you the next question, SPM 2013. You are given the nonlinear equation from the straight line of the linear form. The big Y is log 10y. The big X is the small x, and this straight line passed through 2 points. One is 0h and 1, 1. First question, want you to reduce the non-linear equation into linear form. Second question, I want you to find h and p. Big Y is log 10y, big X is small x, and our y-intercept is h. Now we want to find the gradient by using the formula. M is equals to h minus 1 over 0 minus 1. Negative bracket h minus 1, or we write it as 1 minus h. Now, we want to get the linear form from the non-linear equations. Both sides add log 10. So log 10y equals to log 10 1000 p to the power of x. But because the x is not the power for 1000, we cannot bring it down. So what we do, we have to separate them first. Log 10y equals to log 10 1000 multiply becomes plus log 10 p to the power of x. Okay, now we can bring the x down. So I move the gradient and the big x to the front. Now I want to put the x at the back of log 10p. Log 10p, and then I put a bracket x to differentiate the gradient and the big. Log 10 1000 give me 3. So with this, I get my linear form. From our graph, big Y equals to m big X plus c. We know that our big Y is log 10y. Our gradient is 1 minus h. Our big X is small x, and our y-intercept is h. We can compare already. The y-intercept h is the same as 3. And our gradient 1 minus h is the same as our gradient here, log 10p. We compare the y-intercept first. H is equal to 3. First answer. Now we compare the gradient. The h is 3, right? So put in the 3, you will get negative 2. So log 10p is equals to negative 2. And lastly, we move the 10 to the other side, make it becomes the base. P is equals to 10 to the power of negative 2, which give you 1 over 100, or you write it as 0.01. 1 mark is given for your linear form. 1 mark is given for you to get H. 1 mark when you compare the gradient. 1 mark given to the answer for P. Now I show you the substitution method. Same also, we try to get the linear form from the non-linear equation first, which is log 10y equals to 3 plus log 10p bracket x. We change to big Y and big X first. So big Y equals to 3 plus log 10p big X. After that, we will substitute the coordinate inside. 0h is our xy, 1 1 is also our xy. So we can substitute the 1 1 inside the equation first. 1 equals to 3 plus log 10p 1. And then we move the 3 to the other side, minus it become negative 2. So log 10p is equals to negative 2. We move the 10 to the other side, make it becomes the base. 10 to the power of negative 2, yes, with that we get our first answer. And now we want to substitute another coordinate 0h inside the linear form. So 0 multiplied with log 10p, it will become 0. Then you know that your answer for h is 3. 1 mark given to the linear form. 1 mark given, either you substitute 1 1 or 0h inside the linear form. 1 mark for answer for P, 1 mark for the answer for H. Let us have a look on the question from SPM 2019. So this question, they give you two different graphs. One of the graph is moving up and another one is moving down. And you can see the first graph, they just write down big Y only. But they tell you big X is a small x. And then the Y-intercept is at negative 6k. Second graph, the big Y is Y over X cubed. But the big X, they don't tell you. And this graph is passing through k plus 3. They give you the non-linear equation Y over X px squared minus qx. And the question asks you to express P in terms of Q. What we're supposed to do here? What can we do to reduce this non-linear equation? We can divide by x. Yes. If you divide it by x, what we get is y over x squared equals to px minus q. Our big Y is y over x squared. Our big X is the small x. Our gradient is p and our y-intercept is negative q. Don't you think this one matched the first graph already? Where our small is the big X. So from here we know that our big Y should be y over x squared. So now tell me, any possible way for us to get our second linear form? Divided by
x squared.
Yes, you will get y over x to the power of 3, right? So you can see we match the big Y here already. Equals to px squared over x squared, you will only left p. And minus qx over x squared, you will get q over x. So now we arrange it properly. Y over x cubed equals to negative q bracket 1 over x plus p. With that, I get my second linear form, which is big Y equals to negative q big X plus p. Our big X is 1 over x. Okay, now, what should we do next? This is the first linear form. This is the second linear form. If you look at the first graph, we know the y-intercept, which is negative 6k. And if you refer back the first linear form, the y-intercept is negative q. That is the first thing we can compare, right? Negative q is equal to negative 6k. If you look at the second linear form, the y-intercept is k plus 3. And the y-intercept here is p. We can also compare. The cancer do not want the k. So we let the k be the subject so that we can substitute later on. P is equal to k plus 3. So now we replace the k with q over 6. Then we get p equals to q over 6 plus 3. 1 mark is given to either you get your first linear form or your second linear form. Okay? Second mark is given either you compare the first y-intercept or the second y-intercept. Third mark is given when you get q.